What's up? What's happening, guys? Welcome to the Chinese GP review. Chinese GP review. And that stands for Grand Prix, not Grand Prick.
So we're going with the Kaiba Corp Grand Prix. You're a Grand Prix.
Anyway, I'm so glad I decided to take a nap after this because where I am located, this happened at 4 in the morning. I'm glad I took a nap for two reasons. One, so this video might be out on time. Two, because 3 cars got disqualified at the end of the race. Thank God I waited. So it was a sprint weekend this weekend, and, I'm not a huge fan of the sprints. I don't know, they're kind of ass, to be honest. I enjoy them, but, it just, as it gets good, it's like, oh, and it's over. Plus only 8 people score points. So when I review it, I'll review qualifying, like what order everybody qualified in. I'm not doing no head-to-heads. For this does not count towards their head-to-head, which, you could say it should, but, eh. At the end of the day, only 8 people finish. I don't really get points. At least with the normal 10, it's, easier. So, but before that, some more drama between the wings of McLaren having to change it. So now I believe it was 0.75 for China. It will be 0.5 for Japan, which everybody has to change, which, yeah. And they want to bring back V10s, which means they might push back the regulations, but I don't see that because we've known about the 2026 regulations for about 2 seasons now, I think, give or take. I don't think they're going to hold it back just to bring back V10s just so Mohammed Ben Sulayem can get reelected, because that's all that is. It's a ploy to get reelected as the FIA's president. Because they're like, oh, I'll bring back V10s, just reelect me. I'll keep lying in your pockets, I promise. Anyway, I'll make a video about Mohammed Ben Sulayem some other day, maybe. If I'm if I got an F1 series, so it seems everybody has to who has an F1 channel / series to make a video about the dumpster can that is the FIA, but maybe during summer break. Once we know a little bit more as we get closer to the election, the FIA governing body election in December. So quickly with sprint qualifying, we got lost in Q1. SQ1, Sergio Perez.
It's me, Austin! Oh, son of a bitch!
Oh, shit. Sorry. No, never mind. Liam Lawson. Nico Hülkenberg. Esty Bestie. Pierre Gasly. Jack Doohan. And Jack Doohan. At least he out-qualified Gasly here. That's the only positives I got to say about Doohan on that one. In Q2, we lost Isaac Haijar, Gabriel Bortoleto, Carlos Sainz, Oli Berman, and Fernando Alonso. And in SQ3, in 10th, we had Lance Stroll, which, he slowly cooked together a decent weekend. As much as I like to make fun of Lance Stroll, he actually kind of low-key cooked. He low-key cooked this weekend. He stayed out of trouble. I'm impressed with Lance Stroll this weekend. We have Alex Albon, Yuki Tsunoda, who, oh man, I'm ready for this Yuki Tsunoda villain arc, baby. Everybody said Lawson was going to go into the Red Bull, cook. Bro hasn't gotten out of Q1, and Yuki goes back to back to back Q3s. He's going back to back like he's Jordan 96-97. And then we had Kimi Antonelli in P7, Lando Norris in P6, and my prediction for... No, he was not my prediction for sprint pole. I believe my prediction was Piastri. Yes, Piastri was, okay. We have George Russell, who finished starting P5, sorry. Leclerc, who starts P4. Piastri, who starts P3. And, oh man, they're bringing me back to 2021, the intense rivalry between Verstappen and Hamilton, as we had Verstappen and Hamilton lining up side by side, 1 and 2. Sure, it was for a sprint, but that shit's hype. Gets the people going. So, other than Gabriel Bortoleto and Doohan kind of, getting into a little altercation, and Lawson, trying to fight back to get in, the sprint race came and went with, next to no drama. And for point scorers, in P8, we have Lando Norris. P7, we have Kimi Antonelli. P6, we got my boy Yuki Tsunoda. Let's go, Tsunoda. Also, I'd just like to say about SQ2 real quick. The teamwork between Tsunoda and Hadjar, chef's kiss. We have Leclerc in P5. George Russell, who was my pick to win the damn thing, in P4. Verstappen in P3. Piastri in P2. And, oh my god, what is this? Prime Hamilton. As Hamilton shuts it down. Sign, seals, delivers it, stamps it off in China as he gets the sprint win. Would it qualify? Would it count towards the actual race? We'll find out. So then we had qualifying for Sunday. But I think it was like 3 hours after, I believe. So the sprint was like 1 a.m. here, which I just watched. I watched a replay / highlights. I didn't wake up for the sprint or quali. So we'll start with who started where. Starting with P20. In P20, we lost Sergio Perez.
It's me, Austin! Oh, son of a bitch!
I mean, Liam Lawson. I really got to stop doing that, guys. But in defense of Perez, at least he'd be getting out of SQ1 early in the season. I don't know what's going wrong with Lawson, but if he doesn't figure it out soon, he's getting replaced mid-season, which you don't want to see. I mean, the last guy who got replaced mid-season in a Red Bull... Hey, yo, Owen, what did Max Verstappen do to Daniel Kvyat?
Hit him with that 1-2 arm and special. He stole his seat, stole his livelihood, stole his bits.
Thank you, Owen.
No problem. Anytime.
He lost his job, lost his bitch, lost his daughter. Not actually, but, Max is kind of, So, hopefully Lawson holds his girlfriend tight because the next Red Bull driver might steal her. This is a joke. So we lose Lawson, Gabriel Bortoleto, Jack Doohan, Oliver Betterman, and Pierre Gasly. Yeah, so Betterman, he had a good qualifying and sprint. And if I count it, he'd at least have a point up on the board by out-qualifying Esteban Ocon, but... I mean, the sprint head-to-heads I don't really care to keep track of because I'm not a huge fan of the sprint format to begin with. In Q2, we lose Carlos Sainz, Lance Stroll, Fernando Alonso, Nico Hülkenberg, and Esti Besti. And now, from 10 to 1st, we have Alex Albon, which back-to-back Q3s... I think he might have... Did he also get in the sprint Q3? Yeah, so he's been in Q3 every qualifying session. He is perfect. I'm sorry I put this man on fraud check. I think I put the wrong Williams teammate on fraud check. But to be fair to Carlos Sainz, he's not quite used to that car. Hopefully he can adjust by Japan. Hopefully he can kind of get a little more comfortable with that. But the Williams is really the big story of these last two races, just with how consistent they've been. They are the 5th best team right now. It's either them or the Racing Bulls. And the fact that Lance Stroll is the only one who's gotten points for Aston Martin is literally insane. All right. So Alex Albon, P10. Yuki Tsunoda, who, again, hasn't missed a Q3, I'd like to add. But y'all said Lawson was better. Yuki's villain arc is going insane. Then we have Kimi Antonelli, Isaac Hadjar, Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, who I said would get pole So that was wrong. George Russell and the guy who got pole, his first ever maiden pole in F1, Oscar Piastri. I mean, I said he was going to get the sprint pole. I guess if I would have just switched it, I would have been correct. You know, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Yeah, so far I am 0-3 in predictions today. So my pole streak has come to an end in China, like I said it would last video. But I don't know, man. I just thought Lando would have got it, but then again, he hasn't really been strong. He hasn't been overly strong in Japan. Or not Japan, China, sorry. So, alright. Now we will go into the qualifying head-to-head. And I'll take a little bit more time to discuss so Editor Chan can put the graphics up a little easier, because it was kind of a mess last week. Alright, and we'll start in reverse chronological order of where they qualified. So starting with the McLarens. Piastri ties it at 1 apiece with the qualifying head-to-head with Lando Norris. For the Mercedes, George Russell takes an early 2-0 lead in qualifying. For the Red Bulls, Max Verstappen takes a 2-0 lead, as if that wasn't obvious. For the Ferraris, Lewis Hamilton found his game, baby, as Hamilton has outqualified Charles Leclerc, making it 1 apiece for them. Isaac Hadjar, after a disappointing, not qualifying, mind you, in Australia, but disappointing race result, aka being on the formation lap, he outqualifies Yuki Tsunoda to tie their qualifying head-to-head at 1. Alex Albon takes a commanding 2-0 lead in qualifying head-to-head with his teammate, the smooth operator, Carlos Sainz. Esti Bestie outqualifies Behrman, which, if I was counting sprint, it'd be 2-1, but it is 2-0. Nico Hülkenberg has made it 1-1. I just want to make sure I have these written down, so I'm just going to make sure that I have not been giving false information. Yep. Yeah, okay, yeah. So far I'm right. Yep. All these I've been right. Alonso makes it 2-0 to Lance Stroll. In qualifying, race is a whole different story, but we'll get to that in a bit. Gasly outqualifies Jack Doohan. And Yuki Tsunoda outqualifies Liam Lawson for the second time. Yes, I'm keeping track of this, just because I want all the people who said Yuki wasn't ready for the seat to prove that Yuki's villain arc is for real. Kind of like Miss Jackson. So that was the qualifying head-to-head. And before long, Sunday was here. Your boy was awake at 4 in the morning. At 4 in the morning to watch this stuff. And I must say, I'm glad I took a nap. I'm refreshed. This video might actually get out on time. We'll see. Yeah, so it was...
It's lights out and away we go!
Editor Chan puts in the lights out and away we go, just because. And great start by Piastri and Norris. I must say, those two McLarens were looking good. What the hell happened to Max? He got passed by both Ferraris in the start. What was a pretty uneventful race of just tire management and, you know, one-stop strategy seemed to be the best. And the Racing Bulls really got fucked over by the two-stop strategy, I must say. I feel so bad for really both, because Yuki's wing broke, which later in the race, which just really messed up them. Two-stop was not the strategy. One-stop was the strategy tonight. And we had only one DNF this week. For back-to-back races, Fernando Alonso has DNF'd due to a brake issue. his brakes were on fire. Pierre Gasly noticed it, and later on the radio, Fernando's like, I have no brakes. And he retired relatively early in the race. I don't remember what lap it was. I'll look it up, and Editor Channel will put up a note, just because I was really groggy watching this. Thank God I only got one more morning race till Vegas. Yep, and I don't give this man his flowers often. I make fun of this man more than anything. Lance Stroll ran an amazing race today. His tire management was on point. He stayed out of trouble. He lasted like almost 40 laps on his first set of hards. I'm giving the man his flowers. Same with Albon. He led the race for like a couple laps. Like Albon and Lance Stroll, great races from both of them today. Hamilton too. Charles Leclerc with that broken wing. Although we'll get into the Ferraris a little later when we go into the results. But that broken wing, Charles was running faster with that broken wing than he was with a good wing. He was still beating Lewis. I was about to say Carlos, but I was like, no, that was his teammate last season. Yeah, and other than that, Lando was losing his brakes in the last couple laps and still brought it home safely. And Piastri from start to finish wins the race. So Oscar Piastri gets his maiden pole, turns it into his third race win. This one, undeniable. You can argue Hungary was kind of rigged because of the shit call. Baku with the mini DRS. But this night, Piastri proved he ain't no number 2. So let's get into the race results. So DNFing was Fernando Alonso. Oh, Fernando Alonso. In P16, we had Yuki Tsunoda. In P15, we had Nico Hülkenberg. In P14, we had Gabriel Bortoleto. In P13, we had Jack Doohan after his 5-second time penalty, which allowed a P12. Liam Lawson. Lawson, congratulations. Still didn't finish in the points, though. In 11th, we had Isaac Hadjar. In 10th, Carlos Sainz. In 9th, Lance Stroll. In 8th, Oliver Behrman. In 7th, Alex Albon. And in 6th, Kimi Antonelli. So I will tell you who I predicted for my top 5, and if I got it right or wrong. In 5th, I said Yuki Tsunoda would finish 5th. Esteban Ocon, Esty Bestie, baby! He finishes top 5. Honestly, I'm glad I'm wrong with that. I think Esteban Ocon, he gets into some shit with some drivers and, the whole Brazil thing with, with Max, but, when he's not crashing into people, he's really good. In P4, I said Fernando Alonso. Oh, Fernando. Yeah, that didn't happen. And in P4, actually, was Max Verstappen, which, didn't see that one coming at all. So far, I am 0-7. In P3, I had Lando Norris. It almost happened, goddammit. It almost happened. If George Russell would have caught up, he was like 1.9 seconds behind. He almost made me go 1 for 8, but George Russell finished P3. Lando did not. I really got to stop sleeping on George Russell in these predictions. I think I'm just going to guess him 3rd for the next race. P2, I had Max Verstappen. In reality, it was Lando Norris. He brought a good drive home, and I am sitting like an idiot, 0-9. Will I get one right? I don't know. In first, I said Oscar Piastri would finish P1. Oscar Piastri finished P1. I am 1 for 10. I took the gamble on Piastri and it worked. Didn't expect the pole though. I thought Lando was going to get the pole, but bottle to Piastri, kind of like he did in Italy, and Piastri run away with the race. I was wrong in the circumstances, but got right at the end of the day. Now, I know what you're thinking. Moon, you didn't say Pierre Gasly, Lewis Hamilton, or Charles Leclerc. Where did they finish? Another good reason why I took this nap, because they were all disqualified for their cars being underweight, which will affect the head-to-head of Ferrari. I gotta give Doohan the point on the race, because at least he finished. So, that being said, let's go into the race. Oscar Piastri will tie his teammate in race head-to-head 1-1 after he beat Lando Norris in the race. George Russell will make it 2-0. I believe. Let me just double check that. Yes, George Russell will make it 2-0 on Kimi Antonelli. Max Verstappen makes it 2-0 against Liam Lawson for the RBs. For Haas, SD Bestie makes it 2-0 against Behrman. But double points finishes for the Haas. Haas looked good all weekend, at least on Sunday. Behrman looked good this weekend. His little radio messages when he was passing people, ciao. Loved it, especially when he did it to Lawson. Lawson, why were you P14 fighting a Haas? Why are you channeling your inner Sergio Perez? You were stuck behind a Sauber for the longest time. Get your shit together. Helmut Marko's going to kick your ass. Keeping on with the perfect 2-0 record, we have Alex Albon with a P7. Beating out Carlos Sainz, which double points finish for Williams. But at the end of the day, results are results. I apologize for putting the wrong guy on fraud check. Over at Aston Martin, I can't believe I'm about to say these words. Lance Stroll is up 2-0 with double points finishes. Yeah, that happened. Isaac Hadjar will tie it 1-1 with Yuki Tsunoda. Jack Doohan will make it 1-1, in the race result, as opposed to Gasly's disqualification. Mind you, that 10-second time penalty, it would have been Gasly. It was Gasly, but because Doohan finished the race, I give the point to Doohan. Is that unfair? Maybe a little bit. You'll see what I have to say about the Ferraris in a second. For Kick Sauber, Hulkenberg gets tied up by, Bortoleto ties up Hulkenberg 1-1. And for the Ferrari, I'm keeping the score at 1-0 for Leclerc, because that is not fair. It would be Lewis because he finished ahead, but because they got both disqualified, I don't feel comfortable giving the tying points to Lewis Hamilton. And now it is time for my driver of the day. I have 2 drivers of the day today. Special shout out to Lewis Hamilton, though. I do want to give a special shout out to Lewis Hamilton. He had a great sprint and stuff, but I mean his race a little lackluster. But I'm giving him a special shout out like I did Yuki in the last one. But my first driver of the day, of the 2, Alex Albon. Alex Albon. He has been nothing but consistent. If he keeps this up, he could be a real threat. given time. And my other driver of the day, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Lance Stroll is my other driver of the day. He ran a really good race. Yeah, no words. Good job, Lance. You have now you can't out-qualify Fernando, but you can out-race him. Mind you, both were DNFs. But that's double points for Lance. Usually this would be the other way around. So I don't know what Lance has been cooking, but it's working. And that was my review of the Chinese Grand Prix. Did you watch it live? Have you yet to watch it? If so, what were your thoughts? Who were you rooting for personally? Did your driver win? Did your driver DNF or get disqualified? How did your team do if you support a team? How did your driver do if you support a driver? You can let me know all that down in the comments. I thank you all for watching. I have been Moon, representing the McDonald's racing team. And I will see you for Japanese Grand Prix predictions sometime next week, as Formula 1 is taking next weekend off. I'll see you next week for Japanese predictions, where I will get everything horribly wrong. Thank you, and I will see you then.